All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, February 27th. We only have 4 games on the NBA slate today. We're going to jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean, give you my thoughts. I'll talk about the game. But as always, I tell you guys in every damn video, as always, my final plays will be in the pinned comment, so make sure to check that out and update it throughout the day. So that's where you can see what I'm actually going to be rolling with if you want to ride with me or if you do want to fade me, guys. Last night we go 2-1. Let's pump in some crowd noise. 2-1 last night. The only loss we have had was that Cleveland and Toronto over. I think they finished at 2-11. We needed 2-17 to cash. The Raptors just did not pull their weight, man, but the Warriors and the Lakers both do end up covering for us last night. So a 2-1 positive day, a winning positive, the OGs know the word, a positive day. Let's carry that momentum into tonight's slate, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button. Y'all have been going crazy with the likes as of late. Let's see if we can one up it today. Hit that like button, guys, and hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into the first game here. We have the Sixers hosting the Miami Heat. Sixers 6-point favorites in this one. The total sitting at 217. These two teams have not played this season in their last 10 games. Philly 7-3 against the spread here, but at home in their last 6 games 5-1 against the spread. And we look at Miami against the spread last 10, 2-8. Yikes. And then on the road in their last 7 games on the road, they're 2-5 against the spread. They're just not playing very good basketball. They have had plenty of injuries all season long, honestly. Most notably now Kyle Lowry has been out for a while. He is upgraded to questionable tonight, and Tyler Hero is also questionable. And on Philly, no major injuries to note here. Miami taking that loss, was it 2 or 3 nights ago, to Charlotte. They were 6.5-point favorites. They lose outright 108-103. Philly coming off of a loss, a game-winning shot by Jason Tatum, a loss to Boston a couple nights ago here. But other than that, they had won 5 straight against pretty good competition. New York, Brooklyn, Houston, I don't think we can claim that as good competition. But then Cleveland and Memphis, Philly had been playing good basketball here. They went on a stretch where they were winning games against bad teams for a little while, but now they kind of proved themselves here. And I think that's why we see a 6-point favorite line here with them at home. I think it's a tough one to go with, but I am going to be rolling with Philly minus the 6 points here in terms of my lean on this game. I do think that this team is better than the Heat. Now, in years past, maybe you could say the Heat can compete with them and yada, yada, yada. I don't really think it's the case this right now. I think these are 2 separate teams. Now, I might be wrong, right? I don't know I don't think this one becomes a final play, if I'm being completely honest, just because that line is so big. But I think this Philly team is way better as of right now than how the Heat have been playing. And then I also look at the total here, 217. I know this Heat team, one, has struggled to score and has actually been playing good defense, but I do still think 217 is just a tad low in this game. I can see this game at least hitting 220, so I'm going to lean towards the over there, guys. Make sure to keep an eye on the pinned comment and see if that becomes a final play. I like the over probably more than I do actually the side here. If this is a money line pick, I do like Philly to win the game, but 6 points is a lot to drop against, I guess, your Eastern Conference rival per se, right? But let's move it on here to Charlotte hosting Detroit. Charlotte 6.5-point favorites. That's when you know you're a bad team as Detroit, right? When the Charlotte Hornets are 6.5-point favorites against anybody. That other team stinks. But Charlotte is 6.5-point favorites here. Total sitting at 235. These two teams played at the beginning of February, and Detroit won 118-112. They're 1-point underdogs in that game. They also won earlier in the year as well. I don't have the final score in my notes for that game, but Detroit has won both games these two teams have met this season. They're 6-4 against the spread on the season and 3-2 in their last 5. In the last 10 games, and 3-2 against the spread on the road in their last 5. Charlotte at home 3-2 against the spread, but overall in their last 10 here, 4-6 here. Detroit's actually playing decent, 4-1 in their last 5, but Charlotte's right up there too. We just talked about them beating Miami a couple nights back, right? But you look at some injuries that we have to look at here for Detroit, and that's where this line probably starts to shift a little bit. Bojan Bogdanovic, questionable here against Charlotte. Now, this line would almost indicate to me that he is not going to play. Then you have Isaiah Stewart, also questionable, and this line looks like Vegas thinks he might not play, because this truthfully to me should be like a 3.5, 4.5 point spread. It's all the way up to 6.5. You mean Detroit is bad, but are they that bad? Well, if you lose Bojan Bogdanovic, yes, they're that bad. So that's kind of the math that's going on in my head. For Charlotte here, PJ Tucker is listed as doubtful. I think this is too big of a line to give Detroit. I know I just kind of ragged on them and how bad they are, but Charlotte coming off of a win in which they probably got pretty hyped about winning against Miami the other night. They've won, I think, 3 or 4 straight too. Not the best competition, but nonetheless, they've been, I think, at least in, if it was 4, I think at least in 3 of those games they were underdogs, and they win those games outright. How long can Charlotte sustain that? I don't think that long. So I'm actually going to lean Detroit here. I don't think this becomes a final play either, but guys, we have been red hot lately. It's not about forcing picks to try and get a bunch of wins, right? It's about having profitable, winning, positive nights, okay? So just because I'm like, oh, I lean this way, I don't think it becomes a final play. That's just because I don't feel the utmost of confidence in that pick, and that's just me being completely honest. But I'm gonna lean Detroit here, plus the 6.5 points. If we do research throughout the day and it makes its way into the pinned comment as a final play, great, yippee, we have a final play. I'm just trying to tell you how I'm feeling in the moment here, based on the research that we do have. And we do plenty of research before the videos, but I always like to do even more, like 100,000% afterwards, right? But I'm going Detroit here plus the 6 points. I don't think this is a sustainable success for Charlotte. And then I also like the under. 235 just seems a little bit too high for me, especially when we look at the last time they played. I think it was 118 to 112, like I said. All right, moving on. Probably the game of the night. Best game on the slate is going to be the Knicks. 2-point dogs on their own floor as they host my Boston Celtics. Total sitting at 233.5 right now here. This Boston team obviously looking pretty good. Like I said, I think in yesterday's video or whenever that was, saying that, you know, they're kind of getting back into the form that they were. They're 7-1 in the last 8 games against the spread here. New York, though, 5-0 in the last 5 games against spread. They're playing very good basketball. No Jaylen Brown for the Celtics tonight. Derek White is listed as probable. No major injuries for New York here. This Celtics team, I'll give them the credit where it's due. I think that they're playing really good basketball. That being said, something about this Knicks team playing at home tells me this could be a close game. So you guys know, and the one drawback of me is, if that's the only flaw in this guy, is that I don't like betting against the Celtics. I am biased in that regard. So I'm sticking away from the spread. But when me sticking away from the spread tells you usually where I feel about the game here. I do think Knicks can keep this game close. The play that I actually ultimately end up liking in this game is the over. I think we can see this game in the 230s, which is a big leap here. So I like the over probably more than anything in this game. The Celtics, can they cover 2 points? Yes, they're the best team in the league. Like, no kidding, right? But for whatever reason, I'm feeling these two teams in Madison Square Garden here, probably playing a hard-fought game. We saw that against Philly last night. And the Celtics, they beat Philly. They went into the game 1-point favorites. They won by 3 points. It was pretty damn close. It was not a lock, and it took a game-winning shot to get that win. You know what I mean? So Vegas has their beat right now. You see the Knicks has 2-point dogs at home. Kind of worries me a little bit with that number. Moving on for the last game of the slate here, we have the Pelicans taking on the Magic. 4.5-point dogs on the road. Total right now at 226. These two teams played in late January, and Orlando won 123 to 110. They were the dogs in that game too. I think they were getting either a point or 2 points, and they won that. In their last 10 games, though, both teams are struggling. Orlando 4-6 against the spread. New Orleans 4-5-1 in their last 10 against the spread. What I do like, though, is New Orleans at home in their last 4, 3-1 against the spread. I would love to take the Pelicans here, but I think it's too many points to drop. I am going to lean towards Magic here, plus the 4.5 points. I've seen this on on one book, so I'm wondering if it gets there. But this opened at 4.5. It's still 4.5. I wouldn't envision it sticks right around that 4.5, but I'd love to get this at 5. I think it'd be a great number. Then in terms of a total 226, even though that is sort of a low line, I think this one goes under. I don't think either of these offenses truly are firing on all cylinders as of late. Both their last 2 games here, Orlando has scored less than 110 points. Pelicans, same thing, 110 or less in their last like 5 or 6 games. So these two teams aren't scoring a lot of points. Their defense is letting up a decent amount of points on any given night, but both teams have not been playing with this crazy pace of play. I like the under 226 in this one. And that is all I have for you today, guys. Hope you guys do enjoy. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's cash again tonight. We've been on fire as of late. How hot can we stay? Who knows? Time will tell. Hope you guys do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.